Hello. This is our Mexican food mukbang.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with one of my best friends, Jerry, and today, as you could tell, we're gonna be doing a mukbang and answering some substantive topics that were picked by you guys. I asked you guys to ask me some topics to talk about on my Instagram story. So if you don't follow me there, definitely go follow me so you can participate in the next one. Go follow Jerry. And yeah, we're super hungry. It's currently 4:30 and we haven't eaten anything in preparation for this mukbang. Where did we get this food, Jerry?
It's from La Super Rica Taqueria. We're in Santa Barbara. It was highly rated. It's on a lot of the must-try restaurants here. So they have 20 items on their menu. We got all of the tacos, all of the quesadillas. We also got horchata, and then we have their refreshing watermelon drink they suggested.
We haven't eaten all day in preparation for this mukbang, so we're low-key really hangry.
Yeah, not low-key, high-key.
We were setting up for this and we were okay, let's move the bed.
We might drift off topic sometimes. You're just gonna hear us talk, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Next time, if you want us to be more focused, or Annemarie to be more focused, I'm just a guest.
No, he's my manager.
With absolutely zero experience.
He goes to Harvard.
Stop! Stop! Okay. And Annemarie's also trying to be more regular with her YouTube posting. So for this year to come, Annemarie will be posting a video once a week. As her manager, as a friend, I'm holding her to that.
Yes.
So, subscribe to this channel and hit like if you like the video. If you don't like it, don't like the video. But don't dislike the video.
That's a good one.
And yeah, let's get started. I'm so hungry.
I'm getting delirious now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna have a sip of the drink.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Oh my god. The watermelon one is really good.
The horchata is really good too.
Just open it, drink the water, and when we go, I'm gonna fill it up with tap water and put it back.
Here are some of the topics that we got asked to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you eat a taco.
Seems like a lot of you guys are interested in dating, our college experiences, post-college life, and jobs and whatnot, and traveling. Where do you want to start? You pick.
What was the first thing that you said we were gonna do?
Dating life.
I'd be curious to hear yours.
Yeah. Let me get more food first, or I'm gonna sound like a miserable
We should
person.
eat a taco each and then talk.
Ooh, this looks good. Good in life. So mine's abysmal. I've been in only one proper relationship my whole life. And if you couldn't guess, it was a guy with a guy. I'm not dating Annemarie. I know a lot of you guys think that. Someone even texted the message Annemarie, that guy is gay. She was afraid Annemarie was gonna date a gay guy. Okay. Yeah, so my first relationship was while I was abroad for the summer in Israel. 5 months. I had a lot of first experiences with it, and we couldn't really plan it. It kind of just organically happened. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you have to be open to it and all that stuff, but it actually just happened. And my advice on how to get into a relationship is don't let your standards drop, because it's never worth it to just be in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship.
Being friends with Jerry has taught me many, many, many things. He's an amazing friend to have, genuinely. Who would ever say that, but truly.
She's not hangry anymore.
My post-college dating life, when I'm talking to someone, I'll kind of justify why I'm talking to them, even though I really shouldn't be. They have no real place in my life. Not in a bad way. Jerry is really, really good at kind of instilling that in me and all of my other girlfriends.
We also recast it as just incompatibility.
Yeah.
And letting these small things that you view as small at the moment, but then they later down the line you realize you've actually given up a lot more. I was watching this video where divorce lawyers give relationship advice. And one of the advice they gave was that if you meet someone and you have this incompatibility and this a feature or whatever of their behavior or characteristic you really don't like, it's usually going to remain a constant feature in the relationship. Very rarely do they change so much that, I don't know, it will become a non-feature. So one of the examples was that if you meet someone and they're really critical of you, and they would ask the person during the divorce proceedings, like, oh, like, how are they during the relationship or the beginning of the relationship? And they would be like, oh, we're still really critical of you. Sorry, I just burped. Yeah.
That's actually, I have a lot of experience with that, kind of. Jerry can tell you, I have like a more, how would you describe my personality? Like
abrasive? I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's like a little abrasive, honestly, but it's like also loving.
Real.
But if you can't like really handle the abrasive, like real side, that's how I grew up in my family. Like my whole family just like kind of shits on each other.
Yeah.
Like we do that in a loving way, but that's kind of how we like just joke around and have fun with each other. In previous relationships, some people are like, oh, well, you can change, like this can change, but some things just like will never change because that's like who you are, like to your core. Mm-hmm. So I completely agree with that. And you just have to be like realistic and also self-aware with yourself and your relationship to know like, is this something that I just cannot deal with for the rest of my like relationship with them? Mm-hmm. And if it's not, then you shouldn't lie to yourself or just like tell yourself that it's like working out just because you like love the person or want to be in a relationship.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like a lot of these people that are incompatible as romantic partners, you can have great moments with, like great memories with. Yeah. And you can have, I don't know, a lot of parts that are compatible. But it's just like making that decision when you engage in a relationship, like how much you're willing to give up and is it really worth it?
Yeah. So he said he hasn't dated a lot because he's really picky and knowing his like self-worth and like knowing who he should be going for. I was like a serial monogamist for like most of my life, and this is the longest that I think I've been single in my adult life, or like since like 16 years old. I think you can fall in love with like a thousand people, like millions of people.
Plus, yeah.
Yeah, because you will always find something that you love about someone else. Like everyone has like a good aspect or like something great about them, but it doesn't mean that like you're compatible with them in the long term. And that's why I really like, I think has taught me like a lot about, especially in dating, like if I didn't have that mindset, like I would just find myself in like another relationship, which is not something I really want to do.
Yeah. It's not a priority, but I know like we're like 23, we're young, so we can say that more. And some people are really content not dating, and so if you're a viewer that is content with not dating, that is totally fine.
That's actually important. My sister hasn't dated since like freshman year of high school, and everyone always asks her about boys and dating. She gets like really sick of it because she's not like me. I mean, I don't want to say, like, all of my previous boyfriends are amazing people.
Amazing is like
great
pushing
people.
It.
She's not like me where she would just like settle for a relationship that she probably knows is not going to work like long term. And that's probably smarter actually, but she gets like much more shit for it because she's like a girl who's like in her, like she's 23 and she hasn't dated in a while. But that's like totally fine.
And then naturally, I think we can just go into like racism or like racial issues in the community. Like for me, dating, I have to be also like extra aware of just fetishizing, and a lot of people who just like to project an image or a role onto me. And if you're part of the LGBTQ society, you probably know this. And there's some parallel with heterosexual communities. A lot of people try to impose like the male-female gender roles into a homosexual relationship. And being Asian, being skinny, slim, and like, I don't know, people will generally think I'm like nice. But even though when they meet me, they know I'm a bitch. Are we on to swear?
Yeah, good.
Okay. Yeah. So I struggle with that sometimes. And then also like gay Asian racism in the community is really normalized to the point where people pass it off as just preferences, which I never think is a viable excuse.
I agree.
Yeah.
I've had so many discussions about this, like, okay, yeah, go ahead.
This is my like personal opinion.
Okay.
So like when you discriminate on the basis of race, I'll use myself. I won't date anyone who's Asian or Chinese. That's not true, but I'm just using an example. You're like projecting a perception of what all Chinese people or all Asians look like and attaching like a negative connotation to it. It's discriminatory and racist, low-key racist, because you're making a generalization of it. You can't just discount a whole group of people on a notion that you have that you're projecting on all of them. And that happens, like that dynamic happens in like more overt examples of racism, such as attaching like security threats to certain races. So this one, you're attaching negative attributes to a race that you don't like, even though you don't know if like what all Asians look like
Yeah.
or all Chinese people
Especially if
look
you
like.
have no association or like really interaction with that race. Like,
Exactly.
just no one should ever say that out loud. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like such an ignorant thing for me to hear. I wasn't articulating that well, but...
I'm not articulating well either. But it's just, yeah.
Okay, but how is that in like dating culture for you?
Oh, in dating culture, it's just like I think everyone who's used the apps has heard the thing like no Asians or like, or there's sometimes
I think a lot of people like probably don't know about this. You should just like, yeah.
Like no Asians, or like they use no rice, referring to no Asians, and no rice and spice referring to Indians specifically. I know, it's really problematic. Yeah, just imagine how that makes someone feel to just group them into like this whole category that you see as negative.
Yeah, also, you would be missing out on like the greatest human in the world. So like, they're lost.
But so that's in my community. But like, how is it for you as a mixed Asian?
Okay, so even like as a half Asian person, it's interesting because Asian people don't really consider me to be Asian. Like sometimes they don't even think I'm Asian. Asian people think I'm just like fully white. And then white people don't really ever consider me to be white. And that was like pretty evident to me in some communities within USC. Like, granted, like I don't want to be a part of any community that just writes off like a whole race of people. But I could tell like sometimes when I was like out and talking to guys, like, I don't know, maybe it was like something else, but to me it just seemed like they prefer or like would rather talk to like white girls. It's probably a thing like in other universities, like especially in Greek life. I think it tends to like really have like a lot of just breed like racism. Now that I'm graduated, I don't feel that way as much because I think the places and people that I'm talking to are like more open to diversity.
No, I agree, because then you could just like surround yourself with a certain community post-graduation. But while in undergrad, I can totally see that, and just in terms of like the quota system and like maybe unofficial quota system in Greek life, where you'll have your token minorities and then you have like majority white, and that's fine. I understand like there's a degree of validity to like wanting to hang out with people who are most similar to you, but it's discriminatory again when, I don't know, race, or like in Annemarie's case, like racial ambiguity like plays against you. And I can't imagine what that's like, because I visited USC and like being fully Asian and like talking to certain people is just like an immediate disinterest to even
that's like, that is what it actually is. You can tell you've been like, okay, this person is just not really like interested in talking to me.
Yeah.
It's like sad, but I think what's more sad is like the people who are writing people off based on like race.
Exactly. People who do that, who really write off people, are just like kind of closed-minded in that regard, because if you just leave the US and enter more spaces, you realize like, wow.
It's sad. Like you're missing out on so many different cultures, foods.
Yeah. Bad judgment. So I guess that's our like little spiel.
Leave some comments below if you've like experienced the same thing or if you have thoughts. I wish we had like more questions like specifically to answer about this, because I feel like we could like actually go into like a deep discussion about this. Also, you better keep eating.
Yeah, I know, I'm getting full.
Me too.
I don't know. Particularly at this point in time, like diversity is a great thing. And everyone, I think, should be proud of their culture and where they came from. I'm like super grateful. But yeah.
Yeah, the only place I really feel at home is Hawaii. Because there are so many hapas there.
Oh, that's true. I never really thought of that for you. Because I hate Hawaii.
Yeah, it's funny. We always like tell this story, but my dad is like very, very white.
Yeah.
He looks like a white man. And then my mom is Asian, and there are a lot of Asians in Hawaii. And then like my two siblings are like both like look like me. And so when we were like going to the taxis, like this like Asian man, we were all like walking in and my dad was last, and they were like, no, taxi full. Like, he just looks like a white guy. My camera battery just died, so we're using a different camera.
I'm really interested in hearing Annemarie talk about this, but she, I don't know, is hesitant. So I want to hear more about like the YouTube community culture that she's in. So as a viewer, I like all of these people, all of these YouTubers are like showing their life, but really do they ever talk about like what it's like to be a YouTuber, but also like what the YouTube community is like? Because I heard it could be like really catty, it could be really bitchy, and people are just like not that supportive, even though it could be potentially a great collaborative space.
I don't know, it's a little weird, and I can't tell, like I can't pinpoint exactly like what causes this, but especially like among my size to like a little bit bigger, like, but definitely under like being like a big influencer, if you don't like have a certain amount of followers, or if you have fewer followers than someone else, like they, similar to like the race thing, they won't even like look into your direction, which just makes no sense to me, because like you shouldn't ever completely write someone off or treat someone badly, because you never know like where they're gonna end up or how they can help you, or like
but also
who
because
they
they're
know.
a person.
Yeah, exactly. I think like contextualizing though, like social media, and just understanding that like followers are so fleeting and trends like can come and go is really important in this space. But yeah, I think that's like a very common thing where I like find myself like disappointed, or I don't know, just like kind of disgusted by like some of the people in the community, and it just long term it doesn't make sense at all. So I take like solace in knowing that I have like a life outside of like, I guess like just followers, and I don't find like self-worth in like how many followers I have or whatever. Advice to kind of see through that, like the bullshit, see what values you have as like a person and like what you find in friends, and to see if they like exhibit that in their world, even amongst their friends, like if they have like diversity or like diverse friends, or if they only talk to like beautiful people with like millions of followers. I think it's like kind of easier to like gauge that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a very interesting world that like it's hard to see like what goes on unless you're like observing it.
Yeah, and it seems hard because then it's hard not to like internalize the standards that other people are judging you on, and to like understand your self-worth. And it's crazy because like as a viewer, I didn't really think about how I could be supporting someone who's actually being very damaging in the community, and you just don't see that because you only see a lot of the times what you want to see or what they put forward to you.
Yeah, and it's super easy to portray any personality that I want to anyone.
Yeah.
I was editing the like visiting my ex-boyfriend in Finland video, and I looked really bad in the intro, and I was like, oh, I wish I just had a different intro. This would make this video so much better. And I was like, should I just fake and like film a different intro for this and just pretend that I'm like on my way to Finland? But for me, authenticity is like very, very important on my channel. Not just for like my channel, but also for me. Like I wouldn't like myself as much if I like lied about that kind of stuff. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna like, my mouth is like full of food, but I was like, I'm just gonna like post this as is. But people can fabricate any little tiny thing, sponsorships that they like, brands and products that they actually use, or like actual day-to-day life that is just like false.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous like when you have an actual audience like eating every single thing that you like give them.
Yeah, no, I see that. I think it's really important to think how like this might sound really generic, how we live right now, and like how we're the center of our own universe, and our cares and our worries and our values that develop over time, how that experience can really scar someone. And it's normalizing that just like sets us up in the long run to have so many problems in our generation regarding self-worth. Yeah.
Totally. I'm a pretty self-confident person. Like it comes like very internally. I think that we share that. Where like a lot, like some other people need external validation to like build their self-worth. Ours is very internal. If that wasn't the case though, I think that could be like really detrimental like for my self-esteem.
Yeah.
And I also take solace in knowing that like if they do this to me, they do it to other people, and that just like creates like a ripple of like negative bad vibes that just will not end up well for them, or like there's no world that can benefit you.
Yeah, exactly.
In the long run.
And this also applies in terms of like, I don't know, like discounting someone on basis of their like race, their beauty,
totally,
where they went to school, or any of these things. It's like, it's counterproductive in the long run if you're trying to be like just a good, decent person.
Yeah.
No. Let's do a happier topic. What should we talk about?
Let me get my phone.
Traveling?
Oh, yes.
I love to travel. I think it's amazing, but obviously I know I'm very privileged to be able to be traveling.
Yeah.
One of my favorite travel locations is Hong Kong. I love Hong Kong. Oh, I love Beirut. Beirut is amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
What's amazing about it?
Oh, the history is really rich. And you get to learn so much about just like the development across time, because it was in civil war like just so recently, and so you can really see the development, the changes. I also love like Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, because Jerusalem is just so spiritual. I really like those two places. What's your favorite traveling spot?
So I've never been. I always just thought that I really liked going to Asia, like traveling around Asia.
Food is amazing.
Yeah, because the food's amazing.
No.
There's just like something about Asia that I really love.
Yeah, the risk of getting your stuff stolen is less, like in I know around Europe.
Like it feels safer, honestly.
Yeah.
But I did I feel like my family has been like going to Europe more, and I think that like the history and culture in like Europe is really like beautiful too. But I'm just like kind of excited to travel more.
Yeah. One of my favorite restaurants in the whole world is in Athens.
Wait, Jerry's a foodie. We should talk about that somehow.
No. Oh my god, like the name of it just like slipped my mind.
You originally just told me.
Yeah. I don't know why. I think I'm just like put on the spot right now. I'm like so nervous. Oh, Funky Gourmet is my favorite restaurant in the whole world, and it's in Athens. It's more than just a food experience. They really take you for like a memorable like night. It's really, really good.
Where'd we go in LA together?
Oh my god, okay, yeah, so we went to Sushi Ginza Odera, which is a special occasion. I loved it. It was just like a nice vibe. Like the waiters like were really into what they were doing.
They were so nice. Like everyone was so friendly.
Yeah, and I
felt
really
like we were
liked
part
it.
of a family there.
Yeah, actually, and it was really good too. I like that over Matsuhisa. And I also went to Q Sushi, and I still like Sushi Ginza Odera more.
It was so good.
It was really good.
And then we went to Vespertine,
yeah,
which maybe is like well known because it's like well known, but also Chrissy Teigen, who like a lot of people on Twitter follow, went there. What were our thoughts?
I did not like it. It was like the idea is really, really nice. Like a collaboration with artists, and they really incorporated this like funky building into it, and like all. But the food was just like so salty. I don't know.
I love like fat like Western food, and I like had trouble. Like, every single bite, I just felt like more and more bloated, and it was so salty.
But we think we had to do something with like the wine.
Yeah.
So like
because we're taking a wine tasting course right now. We're getting our level 2 certification.
Yeah. So we didn't order wine, but we learned that like the saltier the food, the more fruity and sweeter a wine will taste. And so
we had a whole like wine pairing.
Exactly. And so we didn't get the wine pairing. So I think maybe that had something to do with it.
But we got the kombucha.
Yeah, Annemarie didn't like this dish.
I actually like really tried to eat it because like it was like a nice place, and then I wanted to like be able to taste all the food. After a little while, like you can't like shovel it down your like throat anymore, so I didn't eat a lot of it.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's personal taste. I think it's just like you should never feel like that pressured. And then like that, like a waiter like literally came over and just like hounded her on it. And like I understand like one question is fine, or like two questions about like, oh, maybe we have to adjust like something later down the course. But she was just like literally lecturing Annemarie, just like have all different components of the plate onto the spoon, as if there was no one in the world that could not actually enjoy that dish.
And the funny thing is, like she was like, okay, like what exactly did you not like about it? So maybe we can adjust your like future dishes. And I was like, like I didn't really have any like one thing. So I was like, maybe like the white thing like that was like sitting on top of it. But it's funny because a lot of the dishes like had that same like white thing, whatever it was.
So it was also just like a cosmetic question. Like I don't know if she actually was like wanted to know in that front, because we also just said it was just personal taste, and she still hounded. And the next dish she still came over and was like, did you eat it the way I told you? And I'm just like, oh my god, like it's a little extra. Like
I like mixed it up and be like, look at it.
It's so weird that fine dining or high dining restaurants that can't be receptive to critique. And like I tell all my friends, because I do not care if I explicitly like don't like a dish, and I just like don't eat it. I eat as much as I can, obviously, but like it's fine. It literally is fine, because at the end of the day, like food should not be just for a small certain exclusive community in those spaces. It should be able to appeal to people and a wide amount of people. So I found it just really weird.
It could have also just been the waitress being like not really knowing how to like communicate or like approach that. I think maybe that was it.
Not that much of a fan, but
it was a good experience though. Yeah, that was so good. And they also they won an auction for like this $3 billion tuna.
I didn't even know that, and it was like such a privilege to have a taste of it.
Yeah, we like ate a part of a $3 billion tuna.
Yeah. We have like $2,000. Yeah.
Oh, introvertism. You should talk about it.
So I'm an introvert. I like spending time alone, but also with like close people I'm with. I can be social, but I just really need time alone. I know a lot of people get guilty like not spending enough time with people, but like that's never a concern for me.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I should be more social, but I appreciate that I actually can take the time to spend by myself, because I'm just like, will be by myself and like
I don't have that problem at all. Normally I'm just so happy alone, because like one of my favorite moments is going back to my room, like getting into pajamas and like getting into my bed, or like getting food and just like watching Netflix or just like eating.
For me, the only times I think I should socialize more is when I go visit my sister, because she's extremely extroverted and she's like constantly surrounded by people, and I do see the value in it. She has like a lot of like socialization and fun, and like all of her friends like really love her. But then again, like I have friends like Jerry that really love me, and you can still like obviously make like very like long lasting, deep, meaningful relationships, and I think it's actually easier as like an introvert sometimes.
Oh no, for sure. I think since we're both introverts, it's like interactions from my point of view is like very like low effort.
Yeah.
And like I don't overthink it, I don't get anxious about it, so like I can actually spend more time with Annemarie because of it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I saw one is like how to stress less in college.
Yeah, I would
We always go into it, but like I don't know, contextualize in a larger picture, that helps for me. And like always be planning like little baby steps for any project you're embarking on.
I think post-grad I learned this, like have different aspects of your life that you're like continuously working on and like mastering or trying to master. For me, that's why I really love yoga, is because whenever I was like super stressed in like my like whatever I was doing during the day, I would like go to yoga so I could relieve stress. But I've also found building my yoga practice and like getting better at yoga is really, really fulfilling to me. So having like other aspects of your life and not just like maybe school, or like having hobbies, like YouTube was a hobby for me during like college where like I could work on that. Being like, I don't know, not well-rounded, like don't engage yourself in like too many things. Do things that you truly like are interested in and love doing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like I got into yoga too recently, but like not as much as Annemarie, because I enjoyed like yoga sculpt and core power. And for me that feels like such a social activity. It's like social for me. And it's like the music I can dance to, I will feel really happy, and then I'm exercising.
Yeah, and it's like
that's so nice.
That's a good thing for introvertism too. I think community exercising classes or like yoga is you can go there and feel like social without actually having to like socialize.
Yes.
Yeah. Next topic.
Do you want me to hold the phone?
Oh, okay, we've had a really interesting discussion. Give me that back.
No.
I don't know, like genuinely. Okay, I went to visit him at Harvard, and you talked about how like going there, like maybe you would think it'd be different from what it currently is.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were leaving. You should talk about that, because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, so like I thought, I don't know, it would be more academic. So many people are gonna hate me for this, but like I think people don't understand like how much like socializing and networking happens. Like we have a lot of like events, and a lot of people care more about that other than like the academics, which is whatever, to each their own. But I think like I just personally didn't expect that. I also didn't think there would be so much like posturing, just like trying to like self-market yourself and stuff, because like I went to a really good boarding school and also like a decent undergrad, and I thought it would be like somewhat similar to that, but I didn't know people would feel like that much of a need. But I think that goes hand in hand with like the elitism at a place like Harvard.
What are the people like what expectations versus reality of like the people?
I think like people have a love-hate relationship with like going to Harvard. Deep down they enjoy like how much clout they get from like, because like no matter where you're from, if you go to Harvard, like you immediately get that sort of like power or like conception of power from it. But then understanding that like just because you have that does not mean it's actually justified. Like what are you doing with it? Like how did you get there? There's so many things, like other things to consider. There are better like standards of judgment, because at the end of the day it's just another school. Like it is just another school with a lot of money, and these people aren't like, there are some amazing people, but the majority of people are not like amazing. Yeah. They're just like good or just like normal. Like it all depends, it's all relative, but it's interesting in that way.
You were talking about how like you're going to like one of the best schools in the world, and you still find people who are just like, you still find the same people everywhere.
Exactly. You still meet dumb people. You still meet ignorant or like people who are racist, or it doesn't mean just because you're there like you filter through like a lot of criteria that other places are like subject to. But next question.
Okay.
Music recommendations.
We should link our shared playlist below.
Yeah, okay, we'll put our shared playlist below.
Yay!
Yeah. 2019 happenings. Do you want to go into that? Like what you're prepared for 2019, potentials? Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm in a transition period.
Yeah.
But my like next plan is to do yoga teacher training, which I'm really excited for. Meanwhile, like I'll be making like YouTube videos and focusing more on YouTube. And then after that, I'm hoping to get like a full-time job in a startup or like something like that.
Oh.
Which I'll be looking for in the next month. So if you have any recommendations, sometimes my like subscribers like really like have like good ideas,
Yeah.
let me know.
And Annemarie's going to be more dedicated to her YouTube channel.
My manager is telling me.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm like actually done. I cannot eat anymore.
Well, you keep on picking at it.
You're not picking at it.
I am.
No,
I just had a guac.
You did?
Yeah. This year I'm applying to law school, so I'm currently in a MA.
Which law schools?
Oh my god, no. I'm currently in an MA program, and I'm going to be applying to PhD and JD programs, so I have my GRE done, but I need to get my LSAT done. So I'm taking it at the end of March, so that's going to be pretty major for me, and then applying by the end of this year.
Okay, so I think we like cannot possibly eat any more food. We need to get rid of this or else we're gonna be sick. So thank you, Jerry, for being on my channel.
What? Thank you for having me, and thank you guys for watching if you watched all the way here.
And thank you, Jerry, for being the best person and shaping me into the person I am
Stop.
today. I love you so much. We're working on words of affirmation. Love you.
But stay tuned to Annemarie's channel. She'll be posting regularly once a week. Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Leave in the comments if you think Jerry should definitely restart his channel. If you were here like 4 years ago, you know that he did have one, and some of you maybe subscribed. Not like posting as often as I promised to, but I think you should just have an online presence.
I already have an Instagram that's public. She convinced me to make it public instead of private.
Next we're working on YouTube.
No.
Just for funsies. Okay.
Okay. Peace.
Bye.
Works in progresses.
Yes. That should be like the mantra of this
Yeah.
channel. I've already stolen that from you like quite a few times. But
Yeah.
okay, bye.
Bye.